Alright, so I got all my pieces of polycarbonate cut out, and currently what I'm doing is I'm taking these rough edges and I'm literally just sliding them back and forth on some concrete, and that's taking all these burrs out. And you can do this with aluminum or steel or polycarbonate. It's all the same concept. You don't have to get it perfectly smooth. The idea is that you don't want frayed bits falling and shedding on you when you wear the armor. And also, if there was any rough patch that could cut the person who's wearing the armor, you want to get rid of that. But obviously, if I'm working it with my bare hands and I'm not getting cut or scraped or anything, then someone who's got clothing between them and the plate, they're going to be perfectly fine. There we go. Another thing to be mindful of, I hope the camera is able to pick it up, is when you're cutting polycarbonate, this applies to a lot of materials, but polycarbonate is the example I have. There's a grain structure to the way it was manufactured, and the grain is going this way. Now it's important that the grain goes along the longest axis because it's easier to break something along the grain versus against the grain. It applies to wood, for example. So since the long axis is this way, that's the way that I want the grain to go. If you screw that up, it's not the end of the world. You could still reinforce it or do some other stuff to fix it. But it's just something that makes the armor a little bit more quality in terms of its durability. Another thing is, so this armor is obviously flat, and I need to curve it around a body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a heat gun, and I'm going to, bend it and mold it around. I might tie it to one of those trees or something as I'm conforming it to a curved axis. The other thing that I need to do is drill holes, and I'm probably going to drill holes with a drill press when it's still flat, then curve it, then take a hand drill, like a power drill, and re-drill the same holes again. The reason why you want to do that is because let's say I drill a hole while it's flat and then I curve it. Well, now that inside surface is coming closer in on itself, which means the hole no longer has equivalent clearance, so I'd have to drill it a second time when it's curved. But getting the hole started when it's flat is so much easier than curving it first and then drilling a hole from something that has no holes. Because then if you do that way, your drill might skate if you're even the slightest bit off of being perfectly perpendicular. I know people watching this who aren't super familiar with polycarbonate material are going to ask, well, hold on, how durable is this? Is this actually going to protect you? And this is good enough to protect you from rattan and plastic and fiberglass kind of weapons, polypropylene. So if you're doing this for SCA or for HEMA, this is perfectly fine. Just to illustrate how strong this material is, though. Yeah, it's fine. Anyway, so there is I'm going to have the picture as the thumbnail. There is a difference in the way, still recording good, in the way that I'm designing the Wisby coated plates compared to the historical originals, and it's on purpose. So in the original, you have these long horizontal plates, then you have vertical plates on the side. So the reason why that's not good for armor is if you lean sideways a lot, then it's going to dig in having a vertical plate on your rib cage. So to fix that, I just slice the plate in half so that they can cascade into each other if you're doing any kind of leaning or twisting. Now, another thing that I do different from some other people that make armor is when they do that bracketed cascade, like the belly plate is 3 horizontal, and so on the ribs they'll also make it 3. Don't do that. The reason why I have it as only 2 on the ribs is because when you have all these different pieces that slide into each other and over each other, and you have 3 and 3, if you just imagine it with your fingers, they can overlap crooked, right? And so you'll have a different order of overlap on one side of ribs to the other. Now your armor's pinching on one side. It's a pain. Versus if the stuff on the ribs is only a 2-plate cascade and stuff on your belly and on your lower back is a 3-plate cascade, that doesn't happen because the point of articulation is slotted in a different way. So this stuff, general principles of good armor making. If your goal is to make a Wisby coat, or Visby, whatever one you want to pronounce it, coat of plates exactly the way it existed historically, you wouldn't do the improvement that I am describing. But if that was your goal, well, you wouldn't be using polycarbonate either, now would you? So this polycarbonate, this was street signs, or no, not street signs, like a map of the campus that I'm on right now. And the map was outdated. I think it was missing a couple new constructed buildings. So campus let me have the old polycarbonate maps, and I just kind of cut them as I needed for this project. And yeah, it's going pretty well. Another cool thing is, so whenever you're trying to get rid of like frayed stuff on the inside of a curve, use the curved corner or edge of like a concrete barrier, like what I'm doing here, and that'll clean that up really nicely. And then obviously for a flat surface, you just use a flat surface. Anyways, what I'm going to do is drill holes, then curve it, then re-drill the same holes, then rivet it to the leather casing. And the reason why I chose leather casing for this brigandine is because I always wanted to make a brigandine with leather on the outside instead of fabric like wool. Or what I've done before is I've used like wool or linen as the outer layer, and then the inside I use a synthetic material, kind of like nylon, or just anything that's like once I even used the tarp from like an old tent, something that's synthetic and super dense. The reason why you like using that is because synthetic materials tend to be stronger than organic stuff, pound for pound. And so having the historical stuff on the outside, but having the stronger material on the inside, that's really, really helpful. But with leather, you don't need to layer it like that. Leather is already, if it's in the correct thickness, sufficient as a casing. So, or some people call it a backing. I don't like calling it a backing in a brigandine because it's on the outside. That's a casing, not a backing. But whatever. Getting rid of these little burrs on the corner. One really stubborn burr. Come on. Okay. There we go. So, yeah. I'm not sure if I'm going to split this into like a part 2 and a part 3, or if I'm going to record this, then record the next step, and then splice that into just one video. But you'll find out when it's uploaded. Almost. Oh yeah, there's still a little more I gotta do. Good, good, good. I'll clean that one a little bit more. Clean that a little bit more. Part of why I had to do it in this section of the concrete is because further towards that corner there, somebody put their bubble gum there. That's fucking gross. You know, we're on a college campus. This isn't middle school. Don't put your bubble gum places that aren't the garbage. One other thing I'm going to say for anyone that's going to do this project is it's important to have good safety hardware. So I put it in the makerspace already, but I had a respirator, which I'm not doing anything involving fumes, but the respirator is good for, you don't want to breathe in the stuff that you're cutting, and then safety glasses. But I will need a respirator for the fumes because I'm going to heat this up using a heat gun, back and forth slowly and then curving it, right? Well, if you heat up polycarbonate enough, you're going to start getting fumes, and so the respirator with like the heavy duty filters, that's going to be good for that. The respirator, the filters that are in it are good for, what was it, naphtha industrial solvent, so I imagine it's good for slightly heated up polycarbonate at that point, if it's strong enough to protect you from industrial solvents. But that's it. So I'm going to start marking holes, drilling this, and give you an update later. Are we back? Yeah, we're back. Alright, so here's some of the plates with holes drilled in them. And we got a lot of plates to go. Like I said in the other video, the reason why we're drilling holes first is because you drill a hole, then curve it, then drill again. It's easy, but if you curve this and then you try to drill it, unless you can get it perfectly perpendicular, you're going to have trouble. I didn't know that we had a drill press, which makes getting it perfectly perpendicular so much easier. But, oh, let's use it. Like we're setting a good example of my YouTube channel. I should have used a clamp to hold these sheets in place, but like, I mean, it weighs almost nothing and it's not moving anywhere.
Yeah, it's not like it's metal where it can grip and then spin at you and cut your finger off. It's really not gonna, it might hurt, but.
Yeah, it's gonna annoy me, but it's not gonna slice my eye open. How much horsepower the drill reaches?
I'm assuming that I can read that tag right there by now.
On the side? Because if this can drill titanium, I'm gonna fucking come here next time something good comes me for titanium.
That is a 610 to 2000 RPM. There is that laser guided thing, which is cool.
It's a mystery. What is the model number? should be able to give you that from Google. Got a bit stuck on there.
How much do you need to drill titanium?
A lot?
A lot.
A lot. Let's go with that. Like, I know there's drill presses that have 1/3 horsepower. I'd like to get something with more than that, or use something with more than that. I just know that I'd burn the shit out of the motor on my. It was like a drill from Harbor Freight, which that's my first mistake.
The Ryobi drill, 10-inch drill press. That looks similar, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like the same one.
1/4 horsepower.
1/4.
Yeah.
Even weaker.
Yeah.
Yay! Yes, so much for titanium. I mean, technically it'll still do it. It's just a matter of like, how many things can you drill before the motor says, please stop?
Yeah. And if it's yours, then it doesn't matter, but, you know, technically school property and whatever, they wouldn't have a little pissy fit about that one. Rib. We got pectoral plates, center plate, 4 rib plates, shoulders. Okay. I got a couple more of these and I'm done. Well, I'm only drilling up holes for half of the plates right now. Might as well mark and drill the rest of them while I'm still here though. Looks like pasta. It literally looks like little pasta. There's not really a solid number that people say to drill through titanium. says, don't fall into the wall. I can't afford you if you break.
It's only $199.
Only?
It'd be worse if you broke the laser. It's like $2 grand.
Yeah, that would be worse. I got all these plates done, comma. I could go grab the other plates, mark them, and drill them too. How long is that room downstairs open till?
6.
Oh, we got plenty of time. Yeah, I'll be right back.
I also have Jeff's tag though. I may or may not need to give that back